Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast. I'm John Romero, the Washington Post. It is week 6 of the NFL season for fantasy football owners. Whether you're doing good or poorly or somewhere in between, you still got some decisions to make, and hopefully I can help. If you'd like to follow me or ask me advice on Twitter, my handle is at John_J_Romero. Now, how did I do last week? Not one of my better weeks. Really only one guy that came through on my recommended plays, and that was Duke Johnson of the Cleveland Browns. My other recommended plays, Randall Cobb, really quiet. Alex Collins, about 5.5 points, pretty so-so. And I was kind of all in on the players on the Miami Dolphins, aside from Jay Cutler, believing that facing a Titans defense that gave up 57 points the week prior would be a remedy for success. But aside from Jarvis Landry, who got some yards and a TD late, that really didn't happen. So let's turn to week 6 and see what the forecast calls for. So who do I have in week 6? Well, let's start off with some fringe starters. And I think for those owners who have scooped up Alvin Kamara, this might be the last week he is considered maybe a fringe starter, because this might be his job going forward. He's shown some big playability. He hasn't even gotten that many touches yet, but now it looks like a bigger workload is coming his way. Saints coming off a bye week and at home against Detroit. I like Kamara as a starter this week, whether it's an RB2 or flex play with injuries and buys and a lot of running back by committees that are kind of in poor shape. Kamara has a lot of upside. Owners should feel confident going with him this weekend. Now, who else do I have on the fringe this weekend? In week 6, I like Tennessee Titans wideout Rashard Matthews. He's kind of been the Rodney Dangerfield of fantasy the last year and a half. Not really getting a lot of respect, but continually seems to show up and produce. He had a great second half last year. He had 9 touchdowns, which was the big value in scooping him up a year ago. He only has 1 score this year, but he's still on track to finish with over 900 yards receiving. And they have a great matchup Monday. Indianapolis comes into that game ranked 30th against the pass. So whether Marcus Mariota is a go, I'm kind of disregarding that. I'm going to take Matthews in a couple leagues if I need someone for a wide receiver 2 or a flex play, if I've got an injured wideout or just don't have a great receiving core. Matthews is someone that has upside this weekend, so plug him in if you're in need. Now, I've served up 2 fringe starters. I'm going to turn our attention to the lottery picks, my long shot plays. I have 2 that I really feel are worthy this weekend. Let's begin in San Francisco. I've got Marquise Goodwin, wideout for the Niners. He's coming off his best week of the season, 11 targets, 116 yards against the Colts. There's the aforementioned Colts passing D that I mentioned with Rashard Matthews. Goodwin tied Pierre Garçon to lead the team in targets last week. And Kyle Shanahan and company playing his former employer, the Washington Redskins. Redskins are without Josh Norman. A lot of subplots here that seem to suggest some upside for Goodwin and the Niners offense. And I think Goodwin has a chance to have a really nice game this weekend. Now, my second long shot is Elijah McGuire of the New York Jets. Just when it looked like Bilal Powell was going to take over a couple weeks ago, having a monster game. He's now hurt, hasn't practiced most of the week, if at all. And Matt Forte is still banged up and just not the Matt Forte we've been accustomed to in years past. And McGuire's coming off a quiet week last week, but he had almost 100 yards 2 weeks ago. And he faces the Patriots defense, and everybody's kind of been chewing up yardage against New England. And I don't see why that should change this weekend. If you're in a pinch, McGuire offers a lot of upside because he's going to get the bulk of the workload. Now, that is going to do it for us in this Week 6 cheat sheet, fantasy football. This is John Romero, the Washington Post. I hope you tune in next week for the fantasy forecast. Good luck this weekend.